From game-breaking glitches to trivia that you might not know even as a die-hard GTA fan, this is 20 minutes of facts and glitches in GTA 3 missions. In the game's opening cutscene, a cartel member can be seen accompanying Catalina and Claude on the robbery. However, in the very first PS2 trailer, the Leone family bank robber skin is used instead. Now, the Kuruma you drive in the very first mission has a unique teal colour, which usually isn't found anywhere else in the game or via pay and spray. The two police cars that are seen heading to the explosion don't act like normal police cars. Firstly, the policemen inside of them will never exit the vehicles, and they'll sit there forever. But secondly, for the first 2 in-game hours until 6 AM, it's impossible to gain a wanted level. In Luigi's Girls, by using Misty, you can completely bug out the car using the car crusher by triggering Misty to carjack you while it's being lifted. This then gives the car some extremely unusual properties. It has no collision with other vehicles, sometimes it will fall through the ground, and it will slowly grow in size the more you turn, eventually getting so big that the game might crash. The mission title says Girls, but only Misty actually features in this mission, but in the early version of the game you were actually supposed to pick up 2 women. Now, if you get into combat while you're in the presence of Misty during this mission, she will assist you in fighting other pedestrians. However, for some reason, she has extremely strong abilities, and she's able to kick pedestrians far across the other side of the street, which is kind of hilarious when you watch it. In Don't Spank Ma B Up, Luigi's letter to Claude tells him to specifically beat up the drug dealer with a baseball bat. But there's a much quicker way, which is by completely ignoring that and using a vehicle to run him over, which is a strategy used today by speedrunners. In the mission Drive Misty For Me, when you arrive at the location to pick Misty up, once you sound the horn, she will really slowly walk towards the vehicle, which can be incredibly painful to watch. Now, if you get out of the vehicle just as you sound the horn, this will actually trigger her to run to the vehicle instead. In Pump Action Pimp, the title is clearly inspired by the fact that the target has a pump-action shotgun. Now, in the final version, the Pimp drives a fiery Diablo stallion, but this wasn't always the case, because as referenced by King Courtney's dialogue in the mission Gang Car Roundup, the Diablos were meant to drive a Infinus instead. Usually the town hall is rather inconspicuous and bland with no signs or markings, but during the fuzzball you can see 2 police cars parked outside and a unique banner hanging from the hall entrance reading Liberty Police Annual Ball. However, once Claude drops off all the girls, the banner will vanish roughly 10 seconds later, never to appear again, making it a unique set piece that you might have missed. Now, did you know that Mike Lips, who we kill in Mike Lips' Last Lunch, is actually featured in one of the artworks for the game? Now, this is actually supposed to be Mike Lips. The game instructs you to flee the area in order to trigger the vehicle's explosion, but you can actually head towards the bistro and still achieve the same objective. Farewell Chunky Lee Chong. Rather than walking into the mission zone and triggering the cutscenes here, you can actually shoot Chunky Lee Chong from these bollards, skipping the entirety of the mission. Also, Chong's noodle stand is another unique set piece which despawns about 10 seconds after completing the mission. Rockstar Games gave Chunky Lee Chong a unique running animation called Chunky Ped, which is only used during this mission and only used one more time later on in the game for Two-Faced Tanner. It seems that this running animation was reserved for characters that Rockstar wanted to make fun of. The skins of the van's drivers in Van Heist are unique and cannot be found anywhere else in the game. They wear a cap and a shirt which reads Fort Knox Security, and the security car in this mission is actually bulletproof and fireproof, and you can store it in your garage in order to keep it. The triads in Cipriani's Chauffeur that are in the laundrette can actually be killed before Tony enters the laundrette. By using the gameplay moves faster cheat, you can sprint into the doorway and use a baseball bat to basically end these guys. But for some reason, Tony will obviously go inside the laundrette and act as if nothing's happened. Something the game doesn't tell you here is that you actually get a $2,000 bonus if you manage to eliminate all 4 of the ambushing enemies. The Manana you're instructed to drive in Dead Skunk in the Trunk has a completely different sounding horn to the regular Manana, and it's actually shared with the Landstalker. This is because it's technically a different vehicle, because in the game files it has a different vehicle ID, and Rockstar forgot to apply the right horn. On seemingly random occasions when playing the mission The Getaway, all 3 robbers will storm into the bank, but only 1 or 2 might leave. Now, you actually get $10,000 for this mission for each surviving robber. If you're lucky, you can get $30,000, but if you're really unlucky, on certain really rare occasions, all of the robbers can die, instantly failing the mission, even though you've not actually done anything wrong. So essentially, this mission is entirely up to RNG. Listen to the dialogue for the mission The Pickup and see if you notice anything unusual about the lines for Tony Cipriani.
But don't take no crap. Nobody, I mean nobody, messes with Tony Cipriani.
For some reason, it seems Michael Madsen, who was voicing Tony Cipriani, made a mistake here and pronounces it Cipriani instead. The stretch limo in Salvatore's Called a Meeting has a unique black colour and it's all-proof, which means it's bulletproof, explosion-proof, and fireproof. However, that's only until you enter the marker to actually start the mission. However, there is a way using glitches you can get inside of the garage and actually obtain this limousine while it's got these bulletproof and all-proof properties. In the mission's Chaperone's opening cutscene, Maria calls Claude Fido, which is a nickname given to a dog, referencing Claude's loyalty to do anything people tell him. Later on in the mission, the LCPD dispatcher makes a specific announcement during this mission while Maria's inside the club, saying 4 to 5 units assist narcotics raid at Atlantic Keys. Shortly after this, a SWAT enforcer arrives, which usually only appears on a 4-star wanted level, but the player will only get 2 stars. In Triads and Tribulations, again a unique police scanner can be heard. As the player passes through Chinatown and lots of gang warfare starts to commence, you can hear the report saying, "Report to gang warfare." There's a really small detail in Blowfish you might not notice. Right at the end, during the explosion scene, it will actually technically rain fish from the skies, but due to the large explosions covering the screen, it's not that easy to see. Although taking out the laundry directs you to pick up the grenades from 8-Ball, you can use any method to destroy the vehicles. That even includes using the car crusher. You can then keep the grenades for later on, which they become much more useful in later missions. According to the GTA wiki, after you complete the mission Cutting the Grass, no pedestrians will spawn in the harbour ever again for the rest of the game until you reload the save. So it's likely the cutscene during this mission causes some kind of bug that despawns all of the surrounding NPCs. But a bonus fact that many of you might know thanks to the definitive edition, you can actually get your own taxi, and instead of following Curly Bob's taxi, you can get him to get inside of your taxi, thus skipping the tailing part of the mission altogether and drive him straight to the docks. The ship used by the cartel in Bomb the Base is the same model of ship used in GTA Vice City. If Claude happens to be on board the ship when 8-Ball has triggered the explosives, you might feel like Claude would probably get wasted, but you don't. You actually get teleported back to the harbour, and there's no mission failure or wasted screen. In the mission Last Requests, you can actually save the booby-trapped cheetah Salvatore tries to use to kill Claude by pushing it manually into Claude's garage. This will keep its properties, meaning the bomb is always going to be armed. So why would you want to keep a car that explodes and can't be used? Well, stay tuned because in a minute I'm going to explain exactly why this is a cool idea. But anyway, there's a small glitch in this mission which you might have missed in the cutscene. You can actually see Claude inside the boat while he's also outside of the boat. In the phone call for I Scream You Scream, El Burrow pronounces Harwood as Hardwood.
They have a weakness for the ice cream. Pick up the bomb I've hidden in Hardwood, hijack the regular ice cream van on its rounds, and lure these fools to their doom with the jingly jingly.
This mission was allegedly originally intended to be given out by the removed character Darkle, and the original targets rather than gang members to blow up would have been innocent pedestrians. This is actually one of the easiest ways to obtain the Mr. Whoopi ice cream van. It's usually extremely rare with a less than 1% spawn rate in certain areas. You can get it later on through the import-export, but this is one of the easiest ways to obtain it early on in the game. In El Burrow's mission titled Big and Veiny, El Burrow mentions that Donkey Does Dallas magazines are flying off the back of the van, but they're actually Muff and Mule magazines. A police radio will report Donkey being dropped along the Portland area. And at the end of the mission, some rare pedestrians will appear near the XXX Mags building. These pedestrians never appear on the streets according to the GTA wiki, and they can be seen here. Marty Chonks' skin is shared with the same skin for a pedestrian that can be seen walking the streets. In the broken definitive edition of the game, Marty Chonks has a chance to spawn as a randomized variation of his default skin that can walk on the streets. So what this means is that sometimes Marty Chonks can be seen wearing a baseball cap rather than his fedora. So let's talk about why we saved that bulletproof cheetah with the explosive properties. So this actually comes into play for the very next mission called Sayonara Salvatore. You can trick Salvatore into getting into this cheetah and blowing him up, which is ironic but also really awesome at the same time. In the mission Under Surveillance, the Rumpo van used by the enemies is a unique jet black colour which cannot be obtained anywhere else in the game, even via a pay and spray. So you can store this one in your garage. In Two-Faced Tanner, this mission pokes fun at the protagonist of the Driver video game series. Asuka calls Tanner a strangely animated undercover cop and notes that he, quote, can't drive. Tanner is the only other pet besides Chunky Lee Chong that uses the comedic Chunky running animation that we mentioned earlier. The blood splatter seen inside of the cell in Kanbu Bustout is the same texture used in GTA Vice City in the Apartment 3C Easter egg. The same bloodstain can then be found again a second time in GTA 3 in the mission Grand Theft Aero. Cars we have to steal in the mission titled Grand Theft Auto all have a unique cherry red paint job. However, code left in the game files suggest in the beta version for this mission, the player was additionally meant to deliver a Banshee and Landstalker as well, making the mission even more lengthy and tedious. In Deal Steal, the in-game objective text when you reach the waypoint has a spelling mistake. You might actually miss this unless you look closely, because it spells the word destroy slightly wrong, where it spells distory. To be honest, when you're looking at this with a quick glance, there's absolutely no way you would be able to tell. Now, although you seemingly kill Leon McCaffrey in the mission Silence the Sneak, this guy survives and later returns in a mission called Plaster Blaster, where we have to chase his ambulance and damage it until he falls out, which reveals him encased in plaster. Now, there's a unique dispatcher audio file for this mission which says he's taken the bait, shoot to kill. Now, if you push McCaffrey into the water, you'll see a unique message stating that the witness has drowned. Now, in the game files, you can actually find a working pedestrian version of Leon McCaffrey in all of his bandages. But for some reason, this wasn't used, so it looks like initially this guy would have got out of the back of the ambulance and run away from the player. In the mission Arms Shortage, if you have the patience, you can manually push the Rhino tank to your garage, unlocking it much earlier than intended. As we know, in GTA Vice City, Phil Cassidy loses his arm in a Boonshine explosion. However, in this mission, he claims that he lost his arm in Nicaragua. The 6 pieces of evidence you collect in Evidence Dash are represented as floating photographs. This is the only time this type of pickup is used, and it was created exclusively for this evidence gathering mission. Minchowski's partner's boat in the mission Gone Fishing is a special, unique model named the Ghost. Now, this cannot be found anywhere else in the game. The boat's default color is police car blue, and in the PS2 version, the vehicle is actually called Ghost Missing because a valid GXT name isn't assigned to it in the game's coding. The moment you kill Kenji in Waka-Gashira Wipeout, a unique dispatch audio states call all units, gunfire reported in the multi-story car park in Newport. Apparently in the beta version of this mission, for some reason, a butler was meant to appear, and we can see him in the game files, but we don't know what part he was meant to play. It's possible he was supposed to be in the cutscene with Donald Love before the mission actually starts. In the mission Shima, after the cutscene where you confront an angry salesman, for some extremely odd reason, the safe house garages will no longer repair your vehicles. As soon as the mission ends though, the vehicle garages will return to their usual properties and functionalities, which is extremely odd. During Bling Bling Scramble, the player is not punished with mission failure if you destroy all the other races in the mission, unlike other payphone races given to Claude throughout the game. So this could be passed incredibly easily just by blowing up all of the rival races and then taking it at your own pace. Originally in Kingdom Come, the game referenced the spanked up madmen as suicide bombers, but following the September attacks in 2001, too sensitive to include into the game, so they removed it in the later version. However, if you have the European release 1.4, it will still refer to them as suicide bombers. Now, interestingly, this mission can be completed after the storyline missions, including the exchange, even though Catalina at that point is dead. And the spanked up madmen are actually voiced by the same voice actor who also provided the voice for the White Rabbit in Manhunt, another Rockstar game. If the player starts a new game on a memory card with the de-ice mission Rumble completed, the purple nines who are wiped out in that mission will not spawn in the new game due to a programming oversight. This will make it impossible to complete Uzi Money and subsequent de-ice missions, as killing Purple Nine's gang members is the objective of these missions. In the mission A Drop in the Ocean, it's been discovered that once the aircraft drops all 6 packages, it will actually continue to fly and land at the airport before taxiing into the hangar, of which it appears in the mission Grand Theft Aero in the very next mission. In the mission Grand Theft Aero, a Panlantic van is seen driving away from the hangar. Now, if the player follows it, it will get all the way to the middle of the lift bridge and remain parked there, frozen in place. It's also bulletproof and fireproof. The LCPD dispatcher makes a specific alert during the mission Decoy as well, saying all units be on lookout for a security car in Pine Creek area. Suspect is armed and dangerous.
All units be on lookout for security car in Pine Creek area. Suspect is armed and dangerous.
Before you get into the vehicle, you can also see a bunch of cops in the surrounding area, and it seems that Rockstar wanted us to struggle on this mission because using a pay and spray garage will not remove your wanted level. Ray's message seen at the end of Marked Man is a reference to GTA Vice City, where he says "see you in Miami." Obviously, GTA Vice City was planned as GTA 3 DLC until Rockstar decided to make it their own fully fledged game, so it was a cool little Easter egg while it lasted. Anyway, in this mission you have to deliver Ray to the airport while avoiding the CIA. But if you didn't realize, you can just take the subway station with him and get there a lot easier. The Sentinels driven by the cartel in the mission Bait are unique because they're damage proof and tip proof, which means they will take no damage from ramming them and they will not catch fire if they're flipped over. It seems that Rockstar did this because the player fails the mission if they kill any of the pursuing enemies, so in order to make it easier, Rockstar just decided to make it so the AI enemies accidentally tip their vehicle over, you won't get blamed for it. If you're enjoying the video so far, it would really help out if you haven't already to click that subscribe button, and I make tons of GTA videos just like this one, and I plan on making many more in the future. The mission Espresso to Go is infamous for its difficulty. 9 tiny espresso stands all around the map with no minimap markers. Anyway, according to the mission's opening cutscene, the Espresso to Go stalls were actually originally called Kappa Coffee House. Obviously, the mission S.A.M. stands for Surface to Air Missile, and indeed you use a rocket launcher to shoot down the Dodo plane. But Asuka says that you have 3 hours to reach the airport. However, once the game actually starts and the mission begins, you actually have 3.5 hours, so a tiny little mistake that many of you probably missed. The exchange is the only mission in the game officially to be given by Catalina. The mansion we arrive at actually used to belong to Donald Love, as explained in Liberty City Stories. Now, some unused text can be found in the file called American GXT, attached to this mission, suggesting that Maria actually had more lines to say in the beta version, but it seems that Rockstar Games cut her sentences short just before Claude shoots her.
I broke a nail and my hair is ruined. I mean, can you believe it? This one cost me $50.
If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos just like this covering other GTA titles, I can happily make GTA Vice City next. The only thing I want in order to get that ball rolling is for you guys to tell me you enjoyed this video and leave a like down below. Tell me in the comments you want to see me do a video like this for GTA Vice City, and I'm more than happy to deliver if the majority of you guys enjoyed today's video. That's pretty much everything from me, guys, so I'll see you in the next one. Adios.